Hello again, Jim Dowson here, guest presenter with the Templar report. First of all, I'd like to, on behalf of the Templars, convey our deepest sympathies to the people of Strasbourg, France, Europe and the world for yet another terror attack. The reports that are coming in at the moment is at least 3 dead. There's some people saying 4. Some people are saying 4 dead. Who really knows? It's, as usual, when a terror attack happens in Europe, it's covered up. Because, the people of Europe have been warning for decades that there are terrorists in our midst. And the ruling elite said, no, it's all in your imagination. The real terror are the people on Facebook backing Trump and Brexit. They're the real terrorists, not the people with the bombs, the guns and the AK-47s run rampage through the streets of Paris and blowing up kids in Manchester at an Ariana Grande concert. No. The real terrorists are the Facebook people and the people on YouTube, the alt-right, the right-wing. These people are the real terrorists, and that's the problem. That's what's happening. And now more people lie dead in a European city. And I'm afraid that's just going to go on and on and on and on and get much worse. So what's actually happened here? Well, if anybody been listening to news over the last 24 hours, every news report said a man who is a French national born and raised and bred in Strasbourg went on a rampage with a gun. So with all this carry on with the yellow vests and things like that, and a reasonable person would assume, oh my goodness, it must be something to do with these, the people power, the yellow vests. One of them must have went on a rampage because we kept getting told it's a French guy's done it. A guy who was born in Strasbourg has done it. You know the script, don't you? Well, guess what? You won't believe this. Brace yourself. It was a Muslim. Yes, I know it's hard to believe. Who would imagine it? A Muslims went on a rampage in a European city with a gun, shooting innocent people at a Christian festival, a Christmas market. Did this not happen before? Did this not happen where? Did this happen in Nice? Did this happen in Berlin? Did this happen? This has happened a few times before. And remember when the truck went through the people, we were told, oh, it was the truck. A truck went wild. A truck went mad. Not the fact that it was a Muslim fundamentalist driving a bloody thing. And then when we found out the guy was from Morocco or Tunisia or some other place, he was just a common criminal. Guess what's just come out 10 minutes ago in the news? Oh, this guy, yes. He was of a Moroccan background. Yes, he was a Muslim, but that's nothing to do with it. He's just a common criminal. Well, killing people is criminal. But when you kill people for an ideology or a political belief, it's called terrorism. Everybody knows that. Don't try and fool us. You know, the mainstream media now are actually getting so ridiculous, so preposterous that they still think people are buying their BS. We're not buying it. Because our people are dying. Our people are lying dead in the streets. And if you see pictures of Europe, there's kids hafting to. There's babies in prams butchered by these common criminals who are nothing to do with Islam. Nothing's ever to bloody do with Islam. But here's the thing. If you put a post on your Facebook, if you don't believe me, you're watching this film, you don't believe me, you think, he's exaggerating. I'll put it to the test. Go and put up an anti-Muslim or an anti-LGBTQ or an anti-feminist post on Facebook, see what happens to you. You'll be removed right away and you may well be subject to a police report. That's what we're living in. But you can be one of these mad fundamentalists. And the police are saying they knew about him now. They knew about his propensity towards extreme Islam. They knew about him. And now they're telling us they've just found a huge cache of grenades in his flat. How the hell where did they get these grenades from? Where they came from? It's incredible. And you know, remember back a few months ago, last year, Manchester, Ariana Grande concert, children all watching a concert in Manchester and a guy detonates himself, suicide bomber. And everybody said, well, how are we supposed to know? And again, we were told, oh, it's a guy from Manchester that did it. No, he's a jihadi. There's a surprise. And not only that, he was flying an ISIS flag, a bloody black ISIS flag from his house, which his neighbours had complained about, which his neighbours had been threatened by the police to be prosecuted under racism and hate crime laws because they objected to a guy flying an ISIS flag in a city that has been subject to many terror attacks. Nothing's done. 30 people killed at that concert? Yeah, 26 kids blown to bits in the concert by a guy who's flying the ISIS flag, by a guy who comes from a mosque where over 20 people have went and fought in Syria for the ISIS, by a guy who was known to security services, by a guy who'd been banned from other countries in Europe. But he comes to England, flies an ISIS flag out his window. The police say, how are we supposed to know? I'll tell you how you're supposed to know. Stop spending a third of your budget on watching so-called far-right extremists who are posting nasty things on Facebook. Use those resources to track down these killers. We're fed up with it. And that's why the people are out in the streets in France. That is why the yellow vests are out. And there's left-wing people, right-wing people, all joining together against the elite because we're fed up with the elite. Fed up with them. And people are dying. And it's the elite's fault. And all they think about is protecting themselves. Now, what they're doing in France is quite incredible. And the British are saying, oh, we're on the verge of a revolution. So they hold a parade the other day there with the usual suspects, UKIP and some other so-called right-wing celebrities. How many turn up? 2,000 people. And they're all patting each other on the back saying, oh, that's good. We're going to change the world. Really? Grow up, guys. For the so-called patriots in Britain, grow up. Just grow up. Or even better still, grow a set of testicles. Because you're fooling nobody. And the elite, they're just laughing at you. Everybody's laughing at you because you're doing nothing. You know, normally, countries, when their democratic will is thwarted and the elites give it to them. This happened before in England, 1642. What happened? Civil war. A civil war. The people then had balls. And they said, no, we're not having this. Because there's a myth going about right now, peddled by the European Union, peddled by half the politicians in this country, if not all of them, and peddled by everybody else. And even the right-wing people believe it, that Parliament is sovereign because we're a parliamentary democracy. Parliament is not sovereign. I want you to really understand this. In Britain, Parliament is not sovereign. The people of Britain are sovereign, and Parliament is no more than an instrument of our voice to speak as directed by us, the people. We are sovereign. Parliament is our tool. Parliament works for us and speaks as we direct it. With the Brexit referendum, we directed them. 17 million people directed them. Get us out of Europe. We never went into the details of what deal, this deal, that deal. The message was, get us out. If they squash this or overturn this country, in all fairness and moral authority, is effectively in a state of war. Civil war, because the elites and Parliament have declared war upon the sovereign people, the sovereign nation of Britain, and that sovereignty rests with me, you, and everybody else in this country. We are sovereign, and if somebody goes against our sovereignty, they are declaring war on us. So, what's going to happen? I don't know. I have no idea. But this is also why President Donald Trump is getting such a hard time. Donald Trump is not a stupid man. Now, you might like him, you might hate him. Is he perfect? No, absolutely not. He's a normal guy like anybody else. He's got his faults. But one thing Donald Trump does understand, and the American people should get on their knees and thank God that they have got Donald Trump at the moment. Because he looks at Europe and he says, do you really want this to come here to our shores? Do you really want us to have open borders where these people can pour in? Not just gang members. Gang members is the least of your worries. Wait till you are in the situation like Britain is in, where we have 3,000 or 4,000 battle-hardened jihadi fighters who've been in Syria, who have survived and came back, and we've allowed them in. Not only allowed them in, we've gave them houses, free council houses. We've gave them welfare payments. We've gave them retraining so they can get back into employment, because there's not a lot of work for a out-of-work jihadi these days. So the government thinks there is. There's terror here back home. That's their job. They're terrorists. They don't want to get a job flipping burgers. They don't want to get a job in the supermarket stacking shelves. They are terrorists. You cannot retrain a terrorist. This is how nutty our government is. And this is why Trump is 100% right. Close your borders, America. Deport those that should not be there. And anybody who does not come down the line of loving one's country, that goes for America, Britain, and any other country, they shouldn't be there. They're dangerous. They're fifth columnists. And we've seen all this in the 50s with the communists. America then had the guts to round up the communists and make sure they were put out the way or removed from positions of power. Now in America, you have these crazed left-wing people who are aiding and abetting the terrorists in your country. And it's only a matter of time. You've had some terror attacks, and you had the 9/11, which was a big spectacular. But soon it'll become a weekly event, like it is here in Europe. I don't want to see America going down the route that we went down, where terrorism is a daily occurrence. And as the mayor of London, what's that fella's name? Sadiq Khan. What an old English name that is. Wonderful old English family. The famous Khan family. Yes, they were at Agincourt. They were at the Battle of Hastings. Yes. No, I don't think they were. He says, get used to it. Get used to it. It's part and parcel of the big city. Terrorism. Get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. Donald Trump doesn't want to get used to it. The British people don't want to get used to it. The European people don't want to get used to it. The American people don't want to get used to it. We want politicians to take action. And if the politicians will not take action, well, sometimes then the people must take action themselves and defend the democracy, defend their families, and defend a land that was fought and won by their ancestors. Nobody got a democracy. Nobody got a land. We fought for it. We won it through blood, sweat, and tears. And if you honour the memory of your ancestors who fought and died for your freedom, in your generation, my generation, we have to stand up, we have to man up and say, we ain't going to let this go down the toilet. Not a chance. Not on our watch. So, again, deepest sympathies to the people of France, but in a week's time we'll be making another video. We're sending sympathies to some other poor families who have lost loved ones because the elite don't care about us. Well, you know, I care. The Templars care about you, and we will stand with you every single time, your friend. That's all from me. I'll see you again in the Templar Report. Thank you, and God bless you.
The threat is real, and we are on the front line. In a world of misinformation and attacks from the left and mainstream media, censorship, deplatforming, it is time to call out the fake news and bring you the truth. We are the Knights Templar. Visit our website and join today. We are the Resistance. Deus Vult.